Thought I'd try this with the camera a little bit closer. Hope that's all right. Um, Before I start reviewing this movie, I want to say that a little bit about the way I watch films, and I'm really trying harder not to have big introductions. I tend to fast forward past people's introductions, but I feel like it's important that you know something about me, um, so that if you're interested in a movie that I'm reviewing, although this most of this for the purposes of for archival reasons I'm doing this, so I don't expect people to flood to it. I expect for posterity, people in the future to come and see this, and someone who watched them. This is what happened to me when I watched these movies, these older films. I would go online and see if anybody reviewed them, and not like a big reviewer like Siskel and Ebert, like somebody like me, and there were very few. And I was left disappointed. I was like, I wanted to hear just some average person's thoughts on this stuff. And so I thought, well, that's me. I could do that. Maybe in 50 years, I'll get 6 or 7 views on these. But so I apologize for the long introduction, but I think this would be really helpful to actually show you why I see this movie the way that I do. When I go to a movie, I don't, there's one thing I want. I want it to be thought provoking. I want that more than anything else. That's not why everybody goes to see a movie. I'm very aware of that. There is no wrong way to watch a movie, in my opinion. If you just want to be entertained, you want a laugh, you want some escapism, I understand that. My way is not superior. I just know what I like, and I like a movie that makes me think. And there's certain films that are described certain ways that the minute I hear about them, I'm like turned off immediately. One of the words might be used is maybe somebody will say, well, the movie really made me laugh. I'm like, really? Or there's a lot of explosions. That's one where I'm done immediately. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not saying I don't want to laugh when I watch a movie, right? I'm saying I want a good story. So I want something to be thought provoking, but it can't just be thought provoking. It needs to be a great narrative. I need a great narrative. If someone tells me, gives me all these particular reasons why it's good, but story isn't one of them, I'm not going to be interested. All right, now getting to the meat and potatoes of this. I have heard my whole life that Chariots of Fire was inspirational. The chances that someone is going to inspire me, they're not great, okay? If I set out to do something for someone else, the last thing I'm going to try to do is inspire them. I hope that maybe I could arrive at that level. I'd be honored to arrive at the level that I could inspire someone, but I wouldn't set out to do that. So if there's a movie that's inspiring, I'm like, now, that's what I heard about Chariots of Fire my whole life. My dad loved this movie, and he just thinks this movie's great. And he doesn't like a lot of movies, actually. Most movies I've watched in my whole life, he does not like. And but he loved this movie, but I just never could bring myself to watch it. And one of the reasons was, well, it just looked like a bunch of dudes running on the beach, right, with some really old memed out music that I have. I know. Dog's going, she's crying over there for some reason. I wish y'all could see her. She looks really cute right now. Sorry it takes so long on this. But it's just that he just could not be easily entertained by film either. But he just said this movie really got to him. And I was like, I just can't do it. This film is truly inspirational. And I don't think they set out to be inspirational. I think they knew it would be. And I'll tell you why. Because it's history. This Chariots of Fire is based on real events and real people. Some of it's fictional, because it's a film. But generally, it's a true story. And that whole concept here in 2022 has been destroyed, the idea of a true film. I mean, when you put on a movie like Annabelle and say it's inspired by a true story, it's like, wow. like someone saw a creepy doll and put it on there. And said, there you go, inspired. So this wasn't, there's a difference between based and inspired, right? And based on a true story. So, and I have to say, though, I did some research after I watched the movie, and they were pretty accurate. And I'll tell you, the world today is not producing people in the entertainment business that could make a movie like this today. Can't be done. Can't be done. At the time when this was made, the idea that someone could be inspired to achieve greater things wasn't found in the looks of someone's skin or their race or their gender. It was embodied in virtues that anyone could achieve. Doesn't matter where you're from. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter how bad of a person you've been or good of a person you've been. You can achieve these things. And you can set out to do them. And this whole phony idea, not that I have a big problem with representation entirely. There's some older movies I go to and I'm like, wow, like it's really amazing how nobody in this movie, it's not surprising because it's still like that in Hollywood. They're just faking it now. Where it truly didn't represent our population, right? I mean, really didn't. And there's something to be said for that. But now they think that's what inspires people. That's not what inspires anyone. It's achieving greatness. And this is what was so interesting. You know, if you know anything about Chariots of Fire, it's about racing, sure. But it's not. It's not at all about racing. It's about these men who, and yeah, they're men. It's a men's race. It's a true historical men's collegiate race. Well, it's more than that. I don't want to get into all those details. Sorry, I'm going to wrap it up here soon. It's about how they became the runners they became and the obstacles, the personal triumphs that they had to overcome to get there. And that this movie, it doesn't matter who you are, is intended to speak to you. The men on the screen, their gender and their race doesn't matter. The things they're advocating for are things that we could look through in history and see people of all kinds that have achieved these things. And we know these kind of people. We've seen them. I had a good friend die yesterday, and she embodied a lot of this. And I can't recommend this movie enough. I'm not telling you to be inspired by it. Like I said, that would turn me off. If you told me, yeah, watch Gandhi, it's inspiring, I would have been like, no, thank you. Chariots of Fire, same thing. That's what kept me away for so long. I want a good story. It's so much more than a good story. This is akin to Coal Miner's Daughter, where it just looks at this person, it's a biography, and just says, how did this person achieve what did they really achieve? What did they really achieve? Did they win some races? It's a powerful film. Highly recommend it. Sorry I didn't give a lot of details, but that's a good thing. You don't want any spoilers on this. I've got some particular elements of this film I've got in mind right now. If you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of those early competitions, some fascinating things happen. And things, again, that speak to something much broader than the race itself. And that is great storytelling. And knowing today, plenty of people that are average people could do this and understand it. But no one with any power in entertainment and media is capable of doing anything like this now. We're not producing those kind of humans anymore. And we need to get some worldview issues straightened out before that can happen. But highly recommend it. Give it a shot.